Today we are going to talk about rates and unit rates. Let's review what a ratio is before we start. A ratio is a comparison of two things. So here we can say, okay, there are 4 dogs and 3 cats. And I can say, what is the ratio of dogs to cats? And you would say, well, it would be 4 to 3. We don't use units. We just say 4 to 3. The ratio of dogs to cats is 4 to 3. For every 4 dogs, there are 3 cats. That would be your ratio. Okay. A rate is a more specific ratio. And here we are comparing two quantities that have different units. Dogs and cats are similar, right? They are animals, so we're comparing those. Whereas a rate, we have dollars to sandwiches or something like that, miles per gallon, dollars per hour, all sorts of different rates, but we are comparing two different units here. So to write this as a rate, we would have to include the units. So you can write it $20 to 4 sandwiches. But more common, you would write it as with that fraction bar. This would be your rate, $20 for 4 sandwiches. Then we move to our unit rate, and our unit rate has a denominator of 1. So if we take this rate, we want to find out what 1 sandwich would be. Okay, so to get from $20 per 4 sandwiches, and we want to get 1 in our denominator, we want to know, 1 sandwich, that's our goal. To get 1 sandwich, we would divide by 4 and 4. 4 sandwiches divided by 4 gets me 1 sandwich. Because that's what I need to divide by in the denominator, that's what I'll divide by in the numerator as well. 20 divided by 4 is $5. What this tells us is that for 1 sandwich, I would pay $5. Okay, so let's take a look here. We've got some definitions up at the top. This is just what we went through. Equivalent ratios, though, are rates that have the same unit rate. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. I need you to remember that anytime we are working with rates and unit rates, we always start with a word ratio. We cannot forget, and I'll show you what that looks like. So here we're going to determine the rate, unit rate, and equivalent rates for our situation. So our first situation says you pay $27 for 3 pizzas. Our word ratio would take the numbers out of it and say that for this entire problem, we would be doing money per pizza, money to pizza. So the pizza's on the bottom, money is on top, and that we need to keep that order the same. For our rate, we simply write what has already been stated. We pull it directly from our situation. So we know that money goes on top, so we would say $27 for 3 pizzas. Now, if you walked into a pizza place and they said $27 for 3 pizzas, but you want 4 pizzas, this isn't very helpful, which is why, although sometimes they might have deals that say something like this, in general, you need the unit rate. Now, we get the unit rate. We're going to rewrite the word ratio. We start with the rate. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite my rate, which is $27 for 3 pizzas. Okay, and now I say, okay, $27 for 3 pizzas. How do I get 1 pizza? I want a 1 on the bottom. I want to know the price of 1 pizza. So from here, I say, okay, how do I get from 3 to 1? Well, I divide both my numerator and my denominator by 3. 3 divided by 3 gets me 1. 27 divided by 3 is 9. So this tells me that one pizza costs $9. $9 per one pizza. From here, I can find other equivalent rates. So for example, if I was hoping to, like I said before, buy 4 pizzas, I could take my unit rate now, $9 and one pizza, multiply them both by 4, getting me 9 times 4 is 36. So if I want 4 pizzas, I would pay $36. So this is an equivalent rate because the unit rate is the same. So $27 to 3 pizzas and $36 to 4 pizzas are equivalent. Let's try this one here. It says a microwave oven increases the temperature of a cup of water by 42 degrees Fahrenheit in 14 seconds. What is the first thing that we are going to do? Word ratio. So we're going to say degrees Fahrenheit per second. What is our rate for this? Well, this is where we just pull it directly out of the problem. So it would be 42 degrees Fahrenheit per 14 seconds. And that's it for our rate. We then move to our unit rate, where again, I want to start with this. Degrees Fahrenheit per second, 42 degrees Fahrenheit for 14 seconds. But in my unit rate, what do I want in my denominator? I want a 1. So how am I going to get 1 second in my denominator? I'm going to divide by 14. Now I take 42 divided by 14, which will get me 3. Oops, that's not what I meant. 3 degrees Fahrenheit. So my unit rate for this would be 3 degrees Fahrenheit per 1 second. From there, I find my equivalent rates. If I multiply it by 5, I would say 15 degrees Fahrenheit per 5 seconds. Or I could multiply it by like 20, which would get me 60 degrees Fahrenheit per 20 seconds. So we can find as many equivalent rates as we would like. There's one more example that I would like to go through with you, and that would be using our unit rate. So here we want to, it says I drove 198 miles with 6 gallons of gas. Again, what is the very first thing I do? Write my word ratio. So I'm going to say miles per gallon. Okay, so from here, I write my rate. I, again, just pull my rate directly out of the problem. So 198 miles per 6 gallons. The question is, how many miles did I get with 1 gallon? So again, if I want a denominator of 1, I need to ask myself, what am I going to divide 6 by? Well, I divide 6 by itself. Because I do that in the denominator, I do that in the numerator as well. From here, I divide 198 divided by 6, which is 33 miles. So, to answer the question, how many miles did I get with 1 gallon of gas? I got 33 miles with 1 gallon of gas. The second piece to this is how far could I drive with 14 gallons of gas? So I start with my unit rate. It is easier to start with my unit rate rather than my rate. Your multiplication and your numbers would get a little funky if we do this. So here we just set it up. 33 miles per 1 gallon. I know I want a denominator of 14 gallons. So how do I get from 1 to 14? I multiply by 14. 1 times 14 equals 14 gallons. 33 times 14 gets me 462. So, how far could I drive with 14 gallons of gas? I could drive 462 miles with 14 gallons of gas. There's one more example here. I would like you to pause the video and go ahead and determine how many meters did Tim run in 1 second and how many meters could Tim run in 7 seconds.